Chapter 4. The Roots of a Legend. Fenris found Tarex easily. He was in the center square of the market, talking to a man in there, a native, and when he saw Fenris approaching, he immediately shouted, "My good friend Fenris, meet Sarian!" "Sarian, this is Fenris, an old fellow from the Shadowhands of Nerethil. It is a pleasure to meet you. Any friend of Tarex is my friend as well," Sarian said, offering his hand. "Nice to meet you too." Fenris noticed that the man was even better dressed than Tarex and had a lot of jewelry on his body and clothes. He had a playful air and was very tall, just like all the natives Fenris had observed so far. "Today, I am going to introduce him to our business partners from Ferris Vale and explain the process to him," Tarex said. Fenris noticed that Sarian's smile faded for a moment, but he recovered fast and nodded with his head. "I would like to join you today if you don't mind, Tarex," Sarian said. This time, Tarex was the one feeling discomfort for a moment, but he recovered and said, "I know Fenris is a handsome man, but you will have other opportunities to spend more time with him," Tarex answered with a hint of sarcasm disguised in his friendliness. "That would be great, but I want to see for myself what have you been doing. My social contacts are available to you to create your customer list as long as I can trust you," Sarian said with a serious tone. Sarian was very direct in his demands, and that was good in Fenris's opinion. His years of negotiation for the Shadowhands were only profitable by making strong, honest bonds anytime he could. "I understand, so join us, my friend. I am sure Fenris don't have any objections," Tarex said, looking at Fenris. He was probably waiting for Fenris to solve the matter if he could, but he had a particularly good impression of Sarian and had no objections to take him with them. "You are welcome to join us, Sarian." "Perfect, so let's move, Tarex. Is it your carriage ready?" Sarian asked. "Yes, my man is waiting in the entrance of the market." Tarex allowed, but he didn't seem to be enjoying that much. "Follow me, gentlemen." Fenris followed them to a carriage with the coachman and 2 more security guards on their horses to support. The carriage seemed too small for the 3 of them, especially Tarex being so big and chunky. But it would have to be enough, apparently. "I have a larger carriage waiting for me and my own man. I will ask them to follow you. See you in a while," Sarian answered. Tarex nodded with his head, and when they reached the carriage, he said to the coachman, "Go as fast as you can, and if possible, lose Sarian's group." "Why are you so concerned?" "The man brings you clients, so he must know already what you are doing," Fenris asked, while getting inside the carriage and sitting in front of Tarex. It was indeed too small for both of them. Sarian is a good man, but too honest to deal with our business. I am sure he knows enough, and I have no idea why he thinks about it. He has several politics contacts and rich friends. His inner circle is one of the most prominent in Brindlehold and all the other cities in the Silver Plains. He is an unbelievably valuable friend, but precautious with his business. I understand. And there is something in particular that you don't want to share? Fenris felt the carriage to start to move, and it was so slow that he thought it was very unlikely that the coachman could mislead Sarian. "Our business includes invading the Kura'ash territory, stealing from them, taking one of their primary magical sources to Ferris Vale to another native partner to manipulate it accordingly with the demand of our clients. People like us don't get into the tribes. We can only reach the lower villages. The limit is usually where the carriages can take you. We also can't have access to the seeds, and there is the stealing part, so I can think about some possibilities of him being offended. He is a Ziamak, and usually they are easier to handle, as I told you before, so let's see how it goes," Tarex said. "And what is your plan for me?" Fenris asked. "I am not the same I used to be. My left leg is screwed because I am too fat, and that's why I use the cane. And also, I am too old for certain adventures. I have been working with some mercenaries to pick up the nuts at the tree, but I can't trust them. They have been trying to steal from me, so I want you to replace them. The guide I have is reliable." Tysel is half native, but feels uncomfortable about collecting the blood seeds herself, although she will help you to carry. And there is one Kuraash that allows my people to come in and leads them to parts far away, at the ends of the branches that have little surveillance. They are dangerous to step on if you are someone very heavy or not very agile like me, but it will be easy for you. Then he leads you and Tysel back to the roads. Any questions? I understand what must be done, but these seeds seem to be more dangerous than I was expecting if people don't want to touch it, not even a native. Continue, Tarex. You and Tysel will have horses waiting in the limits on the tree road, and you have to move as fast and silently as possible back to Farah's Vale to deliver the package to Brethir, my specialist, who will immediately process the blood seeds and enchant whatever the client ordered. Tysel will stay with him, and you bring alone the client's package back to me. Terex finished explaining and waited for Fenris to answer him. Why is your guide uncomfortable about collecting the seeds? Fenris asked. It was a smuggling job, obviously, but he felt that it was more risky than it was looking. His guts were telling that there were untold details of this story, and he was starting to have second thoughts about it. Touching them barehand can cause collateral damage, so I provide gloves and appropriated bags to carry with safety. As long as you follow the instructions correctly, there is nothing to worry about, Terex said with an unconvincing smile. They felt the carriage stopping, and the coachman spoke through the window. We have too much weight, master. The horse can't pull it anymore. Damn it! Fix that horse somehow and make it walk, or replace it with another one that the men are riding, Terex shouted. The horses that pull are different from the ones to ride. But I will try, the coachman said, jumping over the carriage again. Fenris opened the door and left the carriage. He was looking from outside at the poor horse, tired and stressed and refusing to move. Sarian's carriage stopped behind them, and he also jumped off to check what was happening and start petting the horse. Suddenly, the horse started to walk again, and Terex shouted from inside the carriage, "Go with Sarian Fenris! I see you there!" And he closed the door. Poor horse! Well, sound like you was coming with me, Sarian said, inviting Fenris to go in. Sarian's carriage was bigger, more comfortable, and smelled better, and Fenris thanked the horse mentally for that upgrade. So, Terex told me you are new in town. What brings you to Brindlehold? Sarian asked him. My wife Viela is pregnant, and her health is not doing well right now, and she believed it was for the best to move from Nerethil back to her hometown, Fenris answered. Is she from the Brindlehold? That's fascinating. She must be very brave to adventure in Nerethil. I have been there a few times for business, and I always felt it was too chaotic. Oh no, she is from the tree. But she didn't want to live there, so we moved to the cities. Our daughter Elira, Vela, and I. A fellow compatriot, how interesting. I would love to meet her one day, and your child. She doesn't know what I am doing. I need to support my family, and she would be too worried if she knew about this job. And what are you doing, Fenris? That surprised him. Fenris wasn't expecting this question and felt unprepared to answer it. I used to be a shadow hand as Terex. Are you familiar with it, Sarian? Yes, I know what it means, Sarian answered. Then you know what I am going to do. And you, what are your plans? Fenris asked, giving him back the hot potato. Sarian laughed and then stood silent for a while. He was thinking, honestly, I want to be sure that whatever business Tarex is doing in Farah's Vale is not going to compromise my contacts and business in the cities. I am aware of the type of jobs he offers, and my reputation is particularly important to me, so I don't want it to be stained as a collateral damage, Sarian answered. Sounds fair to me. Did you try other types of jobs? As a mercenary, for example? I know how to fight, and I am good at it. But it's not my favorite way to solve things. My negotiation skills were always my strength back in the old days, and I had more allies than enemies until I quit. That is good to know, Fenris. I will keep this information in mind, Sarian answered. He looked at the window and pointed to Fenris. It was the tree. They were almost there, and it looked even more impressive than he imagined. The distance was still considerable, but he could not see the ends of the tree from where he was looking. We are on our way to Ferris Vale. This road goes straight ahead to the town. These small roads you see, the Jirnur use them, which means you should avoid it at all circumstances. The safest way to get there is through the Morokai side, which is why they negotiate more with the cities than the other tribes, Saurian said. Tarex told me about it. Are they so dangerous as people say? Fenris asked. Probably even more. I would not test my luck on there if I was you. Fenris laughed aloud for a while, and Saurian looked at him curiously. What is so amusing? Saurian asked. My wife is one of them, Fenris shouted, making Saurian laugh with him. Now I definitely want to meet your family, Saurian said, and Fenris nodded his head. If you keep my secret, I invite you to have dinner in my humble house with my beloved wife and daughter, Fenris said. He had a good impression of Saurian, and if he didn't bother about the simplicity of Fenris' life, it was going to be pleasant. I would love to. And then, as a retribution, you are welcome in my house with your family as well. What do you say about the next moon? You can come over and you let me know when I can repay the visit, Saurian asked. Sounds good to me, Fenris answered immediately. He could think about an excuse to convince Viola to be sociable later. Perfect. We are almost in the city. They were approaching what seemed to be a small village, consisting in a large center avenue, with lots of small stores, a street market occupying a large square, and some secondary cobblestone streets that led to the woods, and had some few houses. This is Ferris Vale. It's so tiny, Fenris exclaimed. Oh, Ferris Vale is actually a big town, but comprises the cabins and some business in the woods. This part is downtown and has some interesting artifact shops. Do you see that path over there? Saurian said, pointing to a narrow street ending in a track in the woods at the corner of the tavern. That's the road to the Elder Tree, or Life Tree, as people call in the plains. My favorite blacksmith has his shop on that road. Interesting. Which artifacts they sell here? Most of them you or any ordinary men would not understand. I am curious and have enough resources to find out what some of them is about. But even to me, it's hard to comprehend. People from the Vale Woods do business here. In fact, if you follow the main avenue to its end, you can find the road to Vale's Woods there, Saurian said, almost whispering. Fenris laughed and said, Very mysterious, but I don't know what it means. I haven't heard about these woods before. Oh, sorry, there are a village in there, Sylvan Hollow. It's in the middle of the Vale Woods and looks like a regular village as any other. But people there are different. The rumors said it's a place for outcasts from the Isles of Lyrian, so there are more Illyrian people there than in any other place in the plains. The interesting part of it is that some of them are practitioners that were exiled or ran away from the Isles for different reasons. Practitioners, you mean warlocks? Fenris asked, in an amused tone. Precisely, my friend. The Isles are mysterious, and the Illyrian in there don't speak much about their previous life. Do you know how it sounds? Like they can't remember at all. Isn't that fascinating? Saurian said, excited. It does indeed. To be very honest with you, Saurian, I don't take seriously these magical things people say here, but also the closest to magic I have ever seen in Eldermere, where I was born and raised, and any other cities in Narathil were the Wired Wifes. So I admit it could be possible, just don't think it is feasible. Here you will see that we have to live with magic all the time. Soon you will realize. Next time I go to Sylvan Hollow, you can come with me. Bring your daughter, she will love it. And maybe one day when I go on an excursion to Corendel, you will want to join me, Saurian said, pointing to the horizon. See those twin peaks? One is Mount Greyrun, where you can only access by Amber Forge from the east, and the closest to us is Carindel Mountain. The entrance is hidden deep underground, where bioluminescent plants cast a soft glow over the stone architecture, very pretty and poetic. People live there in caves, and it's beautiful. And through the underground paths, you can find the track to Illyrith's Reach at the peak of the mountain and can speak with a wise or expert in the magical arts over there. Tell me more about it, you made me curious, Saurian. There were so many secrets in this land that made Narathil and my Shadowhand life look boring for a moment. And indeed, Fenris was curious about the magical cities. I will, but later. Now it is time for business, and you must tell me about the Shadowhands as well. Tarex never shares about his past, and I would love to learn and hear stories from Narethil. Their carriage stopped in front of a small store, at a corner. It was dark inside and hard to see through the glass front, which had a painting of a mysterious woman hiding behind a fan in front of it, and the sign, The Scarlet Quill. Tarex was getting out of his carriage, so Sarian and Fenris followed him, and the three of them walked into the store. It was a bookstore, and had a few different people sitting apart close to the glass window, holding their books but apparently not reading at all. "Tizel, my dear, how long have I not seen you? I imagine Breather is working on the back," Tarex said, looking around. "Tarex always so fussy and indiscreet," Tizel answered with a half-smile. "Who are your friends?" "This is my good friend Fenris. He is going to accompany you on collections. And Sarian, my influential friend in Brindlehold, who I promised I would one day introduce you to," Tarex said, pointing to each one of them while announcing. Fenris nodded his head, but Sarian moved to her and kissed her hand with charm, saying, "Very nice to meet such an adorable lady as you." "Ziamak?" Tizel asked with a smile. "Absolutely. And you, Courage?" Sarian asked. "Easy? I recognized by the small talk. I am half Courage." "I knew it. I recognized by the distrust." And both laughed, engaging in a conversation immediately as if Fenris and Tarex weren't there. "What a Courage does down here, if I can ask, of course," Sarian said, pulling a chair and making himself comfortable. "My mother owned this shop, and my father loved my mother. And here I am. Now it belongs to me and my husband, Breathier." Tizel answered. "Wait, what? How I never found out you two are married?" Tarex asked, surprised. "Because you never asked," Breathier answered, coming out from the back of the store. He was carrying a small dagger in his hand that he quickly wrapped it in tissue paper and placed it in a paper bag. "Here is your book, sir. You can pay the remaining value to Tizel," Breathier said while giving the paper bag to a skinny, well-dressed man at the corner of the shop. The man gave her a small leather bag and left as quickly as he could. There were two more sitting there, waiting. "Come with me, gentlemen," Breathier said, indicating the back of the store. "Hi, my friend. Those two are." "I was hearing it, Tarex. Do you have any clients for me today?" Breathier said while walking to his work table. "No, not today. I came to introduce you to this gentleman here," Tarex answered, pointing to Sarian and Fenris. The room was large, and the roof had a large round window that allowed the sunlight to come in and illuminate a small stone round table covered with thin golden dust. There were shelves all around containing potions and manuscripts, empty glasses, and half-size man cauldron was in the corner of the room, close to a fireplace. A mini blacksmith station could be seen through the back door in the porch, and the backyard connected the store with a lovable yellow-painted house. "I see what you do here," Sarian said seriously. "Well, I don't," Fenris completed. He was curiously walking around, and he had to control himself to not start touching things. He could feel his headlight, and the beginning of a dream began forming in his mind. He is not used to blood seeds. If he is going to get aerial like this every time he is around them, there is no way he can do the job, Breathier said to Tarex, pointing to Fenris. "What is exactly his job?" Sarian asked. "Collecting the blood seeds. I told you I want a native, Tarex. Unless this other friend of yours can do the job, take this clown away with you and let me know when you have someone appropriated," Breathier said, pointing to the exit. Then he started working on a notebook, a quill, and an inkwell. He had gloves and was holding a very thin glass ball with a golden-ish brown substance inside. He was about to start when they heard a scream. It was Tizel. They ran to the entrance of the bookstore, and one of the men that was waiting before had a dagger in her throat. "What do you think you are doing? Let her go!" Breathier yelled, drawing his short sword. "You two are coming with me! My boss has some services for you to perform, and he won't wait any longer!" the man said. Fenris noticed that the first client that got the knife earlier was back and waiting outside with a carriage. Probably they wanted to test Breathier's work first, he thought. "What is your name, sir?" Fenris asked calmly. "I'm not talking to you. Now come, I don't have the whole day." Brother made a move towards him, and Fenris stopped him with a hand. "I imagine that man is with you too, correct?" he said, pointing to the first client outside. "You don't have to answer, it's quite obvious." And Fenris starts slowly walking towards the bandit. "And of course, this other man is also with you, otherwise you wouldn't open your guard so easily, turning your back to him," he said, pointing to the third man in the room. The guy was sitting and looking terrified. He started shaking his head in an emphatic no. The man looked back, but kept the dagger at Tazel's throat. "Damn, I can't strike now," Fenris thought. At least he could jump forward long enough to get closer, halfway between them and Tazel. "You move back now," the bandit yelled to Fenris, pressing the dagger closer to Tazel's neck. "Calm down, buddy. I am going." And Fenris started slowly moving back, but keeping his strong leg behind and the knees slightly bent to give him impulse if he needed to move fast. "I am not your buddy, and step away. I am warning you." And the man pointed the dagger to Fenris. That was it. Perfect. Fenris moved towards the bandit very quickly with his forearms in a cross. He wrapped the man's arms around the wrist, twisting it while uncrossing his own, and, with a crack, the bandit's hand was broken and his dagger was on the ground. The man screamed in pain, letting Tazel go, that ran towards Brethir, jumping into his arms. Fenris continued stepping in the man's knee, making him fall, and, grabbing the dagger, Fenris placed it against his neck, keeping the man disabled. "If anyone wants to make any questions to him, that is the right time before his friend come in, and I have to let this one go to take the other down," Fenris said, keeping his eyes on the bandit. "I'm afraid it is already happening, my friend," Tarek said as the third man was running out of the front door, desperate, alarming everyone outside. Indeed, the dagger guy left the carriage and came in. Fenris locked his own ankle around the leg of an armchair and lifted it a little. Without taking his eyes off the first man, he kicked the armchair, making it twist a half-turn on its support legs and hitting the second bandits on the knees immediately when he went into the store, making him fall on his floor. Fenris then hit the first man in the nose, making it bleed with the hilt of the dagger, and spinning his body quickly, he kicked the second in the throat, causing him to immediately faint. With both men down, Fenris retrieved. "Terex, would your men take care of them?" "Of course, Fenris. I am sorry I told them to take a walk and give us privacy. You know I am not trusting everyone lately, but they will be back soon enough," Tarex answered. "My men are outside waiting too," Sarian said. He jumped over the passed-out bandit and called his security guards outside to tie them. "Thanks, Sarian. Just keep in mind that this case can't be known by the guards due to the nature of Brethir's job, so let my men handle once they are back." "Oh, see, here they are," Tarex said, while walking out to call them. "Thanks for saving me," Tazel whispered, holding back tears. "Of course, that's my pleasure. It is always good to exercise old shadow hand skills every now and then," Fenris said, making Tazel to smile discreetly. "You are skilled and a good man. I'm sorry for the harsh words earlier. I was unfair to you," Brethir said, making a short bow. Fenris nodded his head, and the subject was solved. "Fenris, Sarian, I will have to go now so my men can take care of these two. Brethir, I will let you know what I have found out about this matter. And Tazel, my dear, I am sorry that happened to you. As long as I am working with you two, this won't happen again. Don't worry, I am taking care of it," Tarex said from the front door, already leaving. Fenris knew his friend. From now on, Brethir and Tazel would have security all the time, and anyone that messed up with them would pay. Tarex used to be a natural protector, or a paranoid, and he was so good in keeping people safe, as Fenris was good in bargain. If I can suggest, you should close the store for today and stay home. There are some curious people outside, and you two don't want to deal with them right now, I am sure. "Fenris, I can take you to Brindlehold with me," Sarian said, moving to the door. "I am sorry about what happened to Sel. I hope you recover soon. And I believe any business subject should wait until whenever you are ready," Fenris said, following Sarian while the couple was thanking them and locking everything behind their back. Fenris didn't know much about magic. Nerithil was made of ordinary men, but he understood about the intuition and the signs life gives to us. and living as a shadow hand taught him to always listen to his instincts and intuition. He was quiet when the carriage started moving, and he remained almost until the entrance of Farah's Vale. "1 gold coin for your thoughts," Sarian said. He was staring at Fenris in his contemplative mode, and it was obvious something was bothering him. "As you believe in your magic, I believe in signs and premonitions. What happened today makes me wonder if I am in the right path. It's sensate to think about it. Collect blood seeds is one of the most dangerous things to do that I can imagine nowadays, especially being a non-native. You are skilled enough to get different jobs. Better than this. Indeed, I am impressed with your performance today. I tried to get a job already, and some people offered me opportunities, but the money was so little that I can't afford anything besides the food for my family." Fenris knew that the job was maybe too risky to be worthy, but maybe he didn't have to do it for long. His intuition was shouting a huge no. "What about working with me? You may be more skilled than most of my men, and I pay well. You can ask them. I say around 200 coins per week, and an extra 50 if I need you in an exceptional hour." "Is that okay?" Sarian asked excitedly. "That's perfect. I haven't made that much money in over 10 years. Are you sure you want me to work for you in those terms?" Fenris said. "Yes. I pay my men for their loyalty, not by their services as everyone else. I have interests that few people are aware of, so discretion and allegiance are crucial for me to hire personal guards," Sarian explained. "I understand. I know how to keep secrets. Otherwise, I wouldn't have survived most of my life when I was younger." Fenris said, "That's what I was counting on. So I have to be honest with you. My work as a political advisor involves a lot of secrets and private meetings. I usually ask to my men to perform some secondary tasks for me. If you are smart as I think you are, it won't be a challenge for you, and I always pay extra for those tasks, essentially spying and exploring certain private spaces. Once more, I have to say that loyalty is crucial," Sarian said seriously. "Do you want me to break into places?" Fenris asked, making him laugh. "Oh no, I am always invited to parties, meetings, and visits. You just have to take the chance while I am there entertaining my hosts to look for opportunities, advantages. You will figure out. It is not dangerous as Tarek's proposal, I assure you, but it's also not free of risks. As long as you can get yourself out of questionable situations, you have nothing to fear." Sarian answered, "I may be the perfect man for the job," Fenris said, relaxing in his seat. "So it is yours. Most days I will need you during the afternoon and some evenings, but I will let you know. Varkai can explain everything to you tomorrow morning when you start. We should have stopped in the tavern to eat. I am too hungry to think now," Sarian said. They were on the road again, and it was going to take a while until they reached Brindlehold. "If you don't mind the simplicity, you are welcome to eat at my house once we arrive. Vaela is probably starting to cook soon. She likes to eat when the sun is at its peak, and at sunset, no exception. Which means she is always angry with me for missing dinner time. I appreciate it, and thank for the invitation. Apparently, I am getting to know your family earlier than I thought. The trip went faster than imagined, and they were chatting about amenities during the whole time." Varkai, that Fenris found out was the large blonde man outside, joined the conversation at some point while riding side by side with the carriage window, and contrary to his dour expression, he ended up being very funny and entertaining. They arrived in Brindlehold at almost sunset, and Sarian asked Varkai to go to the market and bring some wine, dried meat, honey, cheese, and flowers for Viela, as he didn't want to arrive at her home barehand. With the slowness of the carriage on the city streets, Varkai would do everything still on time to arrive with them. Indeed, Varkai reached the carriage when they were approaching the side road that led to Fenris's house. Varkai knew that part of the town well, because he grew up there and was excited about it. When they arrived, Sarian got the flowers to offer himself to Viela, and Varkai gave him another package, saying, "This is for Fenris's little girl. I saw it and looked like a good idea." Fenris led them to the front door, and Viola opened beforehand with a surprised expression, while a shy Elira was hiding behind her legs. "My love, this is Sarian, my boss. Varkai, my good friend, and other fellows. We haven't eaten today, and I invited them to join us. I hope we have enough," Fenris said, really hoping for the best. Viola was looking at him annoyed, probably because she wasn't warned about them, but even he didn't know. But as soon as she saw the flowers in Sarian's hands, she blushed, and her expression relieved the tension. "Of course, welcome. Please join us. I am glad to meet you," Viola said. Elira waved to Sarian from behind her mother and continued hiding. "It is my pleasure to meet you and your adorable daughter," Sarian said, making Elira to giggles and giving her the little package. "I have brought some wine and other treats as well to offer as a merry meet gift to such an honorable lady," and he pointed to the packages Varkai was carrying. Fenris thought he could learn some Sarian gallantry tips to use with Viola when she is grumpy. Sarian conquered her even faster than him. "What is this? Smells so good," Elira shouted. "Moonfruit chews. Used to be my favorite candy as a child," Varkai said with a huge smile. "Honey, you eat only one and leave the rest for later. You still have to eat properly." "Oh, moonfruit chews. They were one of my favorites too," Viola exclaimed. "Good to know. So maybe next time we can bring some more," Sarian said. "It is delicious. Thank you." Elira shouted, running to Sarian and hugging his legs, then Varkai legs and the other two of Sarian men that were there, Kay and Thalgrim, making them all smile. Fenris invited them in too, but they refused. They were Tamrock in service, so they would do their job prior to anything else. And Fenris, his family, Varkai and Sarian went in to rest and snack the nuts and cheeses. Viola made a large plate for their people outside, so they wouldn't starve while they were feasting inside. "If you allow me to ask, from which tribe are you from?" Sarian asked. "I used to be from the Girnor. Now my tribe is my family," Viola answered while stirring the pans. "I see. Makes sense. I am Ziamak from my father, and the tribe I grew up with. But my mother, we didn't know," Sarian said, making Viola to look at him confused. "My mother was found, as a toddler, wandering around the Bloodwood forest, perfectly silent and peaceful. She was found and taken to the Ziamak, but no one claimed her. So they believed she was from other tribe, and our elder lights sent cordial messages to all tribes, asking about a missing child, but no one ever, in her whole life, claimed my mother's ancestrally," Sarian said while preparing a biscuit boat with cheese and honey for himself and one for Elira. "That a remarkably interesting story. What do you believe did happen, Sarian?" Viola asked curiously. "I believe her mother hid the pregnancy and perished giving her birth, or she was abandoned for any reason to die in the woods. The important thing is that one of her first friends, my father, took care of her and protected my mother until the last day of her life," Sarian said. "He still misses her and always talk about her when I visit him in the tribes." "Do you visit your family very often, Viola?" "Oh no, I ran away to never look back. That's why we live here, and not in the comfort of the tribe. Although I don't know if they would accept my non-native husband there," Viola said. She finished a mashed potatoes with shredded chicken and sauce that they served to eat with the biscuits. She then sat down to rest and continued talking while the roast with vegetables was in the wood oven. "Nowadays, I believe people are more open to outsiders and tribes, as long as it makes sense. I think it could be fine. If it is not too bold to ask, why did you run away?" Sarian said. Viola showed him a half smile and stared Fenris, who was silently absorbing all that information she refused to share with him for years. But they were at her home now. What she was expecting? She thought. "Well, you may have heard about Korvac," she said, causing surprise expressions in the audience, minus Fenris. "Who is Korvac?" Elira asked, making her father smile. She was sitting on the floor, close to Sarian, just waiting for him to give her filled biscuits and listening to her mother's story. "He is an elder light and the leader of the Girnor conclave. When I was 17, I had an issue. I lost my temper with Korvac and left before I would take the consequences. I grabbed some money I had been saving, hiding, to be honest, and went to Westrun. The first boat I could afford a ticket took me to Narrathil, and there is where I have been since then. Wow, Mom, you are so brave, and even more adventurous than Daddy. Elira shouted, making everyone guffaw. Thanks, sweetheart. But it was easy. I was tougher than most sailors there, and it only took 2 years for me to meet your father. And then I was never alone again, Vayela said, smiling at Fenris. I must agree with adorable Elira. 2 years on your own is indeed very brave. Fenris is a lucky man. And you are the bravest woman I have known if you defied Korvac and lived to tell the tale. Sarian said. Thanks, Sarian. Are you married? Any children? Vayela asked him. No. I had a woman I loved very much in the past, but as many of us men do, I hid my feelings for too long and lost her. After that, I decided to be alone as she was irreplaceable. But I always have some company to spend my time with. Sarian said sadly. There was that person in Westrun. Varkai whispered, making Sarian laugh out loud. Baltharak? Oh no, he was a really interesting company and lasts longer than most of my romantic partners. But in the end, I couldn't love him as much. I loved Eraswin. She was unique. Sarian said while filling another biscuit to Elira. Elira knows how to make her own Sarian. She is being spoiled, Fenris said with a smile. I am enjoying doing it, so let me do it. And she won't have her buddy Sarian all the time around anyway, Sarian said, and Elira agreed by nodding her head with a huge smile. Dinner was ready, and they ate, chatted, and laughed for a while. Once they were done, Fenris took care of the dishes for Vayela, so she could rest and speak some more with Sarian. Fenris didn't remember Vayela having any friends, and he never questioned why. It was probably too hard to be alone for that long, in a different continent and fighting to survive. She was enjoying the night and talking more than usual. Fenris was happy just to see her like that, relaxed, enjoying her evening. Varkai was playing a game with Elira, and the winner of each round would get a chew, and he was letting her win every time. The game's name was Singing Stones, and had funny music related, and didn't take long for her to get excited and start singing to them. Elira has an amazing voice, Fenris, even for the tribe's standards. Most of us have beautiful melodious voices, but not all knows how to sing. She is exceptionally talented, Sarian exclaimed. I know. She learned how to play the lira a while ago with a woman that used to take care of her for us to work. Back in the dunes of Narthil, you should see her singing with the lira. It's the most beautiful music you will ever hear. Thanks, Daddy, Elira shouted in between the songs. She finished and everyone applauded her. I appreciate your hospitality, Vayela, Fenris, Elira, Sarian said, bowing each of them, but it's late and we must rest. Sarian stood up and Varkai joined him. I hope to see you all soon. I have already arranged with Fenris to have dinner in my house. Varkai, bring your family as well. Elira can easily be friends with your twins. And Elira, you are going to try my favorite candy as a child, sunshine blossoms, Sarian said, walking towards the front door. Sunshine blossoms? Really? Well, my child can eat anything, so I am sure she will like it. Vayela said. What is it? I will have to try all these things too. Back home, my childhood was eating whatever I could steal, and usually tasted poorly. Maybe my favorite treats were apples, Fenris said. That's the saddest thing I have heard this week. Okay, I am done working. Back to the carriage, Sarian, Varkai said, laughing. Oh. Fenris walked them back outside, and they agreed to Varkai pick him up when the sun was at its peak the next day to teach him the path to Sarian's house, and he was going to start working for him officially. Back inside, Elira was waiting for him to put her in bed. She was so tired for the fun she had that she was ready to rest. Vayela was wrapping up the rest of the treats Sarian bought and left for them, and when Fenris passed by her, she whispered to him, I am glad you met decent people, and a good job, my love. I am proud of you and feeling hopeful for our new life. And I am happy to hear how amazing and strong my beloved wife is, beyond what I already knew before, Fenris said, kissing her sweetly and moving to put Elira in bed.